Hi, welcome to Music Lab. Let's learn about music. Chord progressions. This is without a doubt one of my favorite parts of music theory, and I just want to jump right into it. So, what is a chord progression? A chord progression is a collection of chords played one after the other. That's it. Some chords by themselves can carry a lot of personality, but at their core, chords are social creatures, and when you put them together, they can take on entirely new meanings. Up until this point, we've been naming chords by their letter, note, name. But when we talk about chord progressions, there's another labeling system that we can use that abstracts out the actual chord name and instead focuses on the relationship between those chords. For example, let's look at a simple chord progression. Let's use the chords D minor, G, and C. This progression is in the key of C and uses chords based around the second, fifth, and first notes in the C major scale. But what if we wanted to play that progression in another key? If we wanted to play this progression in the key of G, again, we'd use the chords based around the second, fifth, and first notes of the scale. And in the key of G, that would be A minor, D, and G. Both examples here are built with chords from the second, fifth, and first notes of the respective keys. At their core, these are the same progression. And if we wanted to represent this progression independent of the keys, we can instead use that numbered relationship to the root chord using Roman numerals 2, 5, and 1. So that's the notation that we'll use going forward when we talk about chord progressions. It's a little confusing at first, but we're gonna contextualize it with some real-world examples, and hopefully that will help explain things a little bit. With that knowledge, let's jump into some actual progressions. And I think it's fitting to start with the most popular progression today. 1, 5, minor 6, 4. This progression is a masterclass in taking the listener on a short but sweet emotional journey. There are pockets of tension and melancholy, but ultimately it resolves in a really satisfying way. And apparently a lot of people agree. I mean, we don't have enough time to go through all the songs that use this progression. So moving to the next progression, we have a major 4, a minor 4, and then the 1. This is just a short transition progression, but I love it because you have that major 4, which is already primed to go back to 1, but you throw in this minor 4th, which is just this really sad sigh right before you go home. You tend to find this progression in sadder songs. The first one that comes to mind for me is When I Was Your Man by Bruno Mars.
Take you to every party, cause all you wanted to do was dance. Now my baby's dancing, but she's dancing with another man.
It works. It makes me feel for him when, clearly he's fine. He's doing okay. This next progression starts at home on the 1 and drops its top note down half a step, eventually landing on the 5. You can find this half step down progression in a couple different types of songs, but my favorite and the one that comes to mind for me is by Mr. Harry Styles, Canyon.
I'm going, oh, I'm going, I'm going, oh, I'm going, I'm going, oh, I'm going home. I'm going, oh, I'm going, I'm going, oh, I'm going, I'm going, oh, I'm going home.
I really like this progression because it has this feeling of nostalgia, almost wistfulness, but in the end, it's ultimately still very happy. Okay, so this is the final exam. This is taking everything we've learned so far and putting it together, and it's getting jazzy. Fair warning. It's got a lot of sevenths, it's in a minor key, it's inside out where it resolves to the 1 halfway through. And if you ask me to place this jazzy progression, one of the last places I'd expect to see it is the #1 song from one of today's biggest pop stars, Miss Ariana Grande.
Yeah, for that I say thank you. Next, thank you. Next, thank you. Next, I'm so fucking grateful for my ex. Thank you. Next, thank you. Next, thank you.
Thank You Next's progression is the perfect counterpoint to the idea that a pop song's chords have to be as simple and digestible as possible. It is a beautiful complement to the message of the song, finding beauty and growth in our most challenging experiences. That experience is not simple, it's not clean, but it's important and it works. I could talk your ear off about chord progressions, and I'd love to maybe jump into them another time, but I think that's everything for this video. So thank you for watching. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye. Jazzy, baby.